my fellow readers, is I, Dark Symphony 777, with a fan fiction review. As always, a link to the story will be in the description below. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, click on that bell for notifications, leave a comment in the comment section below on your thoughts of the fanfiction, and any future fanfictions you want me to read or review. As always, a link to the story will be in the description below. And if you want to hang out with me and talk or something, then join my Discord. I will be leaving a link to the Discord in the description below. So, this is a story, back, when I first started. I did two videos, The Mole and the story I'm reviewing right now, Alphys and the Queen by Ringcat. And, I had a lot of fun doing those stories, but I wanted to do both of them over. I already did The Mole. And the second Mole story, that's going to actually be the review after this one. Well, not after this one, after Angseth. Thirsty. And I wanted to get this story out of the way and redo this story because I feel my last review was not that good of it. It doesn't help that, I was playing Resident Evil when I kept, kicking, I kept saying, a lot, And also because I focused very much on one aspect of the story where I think it's worth redoing to revolve around all the aspects of the story. Also, my computer's breaking down. I hope I can get this computer to last until I get a new laptop. Oh, that'd be crappy. I don't know how long, because now all my things, I have no idea how to put these in, and now I have half the keyboard, and just the actuators, including the backspace. But I know where the backspace, and I know as long as I got the letter ones, I'm fine. So, but that's off topic. I always do that. So let's get to the story. Alphys and the Queen by Ringcat. It's a very, I have a love-hate relationship. On the one hand, it is a decent drama. It's not an outstanding drama. There are better dramas for it in the genre. Melancholia for one, Deluge for one. Even among the Undertale fandom, there's better dramas. For all intents and purposes, if you want to do like video versions, Glitch Tale is really good. But it did have some good ideas involved, mostly revolving the characters. But excuse me, it had a really weak plot, around the middle, and it had a really bad character. So, there's good parts and there's bad parts of the story. So let's talk about the plot first. So in order to figure out the plot, you gotta figure out how Undertale works. Undertale works based on your decisions. Your decisions revolve around the game. Not only that, but any other subsequent playthrough. That's actually how it works. I mean, granted, nobody thought, until it came to consoles, nobody thought the game was ever going to work on consoles because of how it works. But, Toby Fox, he found a way to get it onto consoles. So, in this playthrough, we're going through a neutral playthrough. That means you kill certain that means you kill at least one character, and then you get, Photoshop Flowey and stuff like that. In this story, it follows the death of three characters, Wusha, Papyrus, the Great Papyrus, and King Asgore. And so the story kind of kicks off after that. Toriel, aka Goat Mom, aka Milf, Goat Milf, finds out Asgore's dead, and she dies. I'm gonna take over I'm gonna be in charge in the underground because my husband died, and I'm the only one who can actually do that. Undying the Undying, the fish lady who likes Alphys, is charged for that. Doesn't really like the fact that some random lady who claims to be Asgore's wife, and then she finds out that, she kind of knew she was Asgore's wife. She just didn't want to believe it because of what she wanted to do. And so we have, Undyne just, I don't want you here. I don't want you here. And then we have, the other characters kind of going kind of taking sides. So we have Metaton and Alphys kind of taking Undyne's side, and we have Muffet and Sans taking Toriel's side. And I'm sorry if I'm like rubbing my nose. I have a runny nose right now. Ignore that. And so Toriel's idea, it kind of makes sense in the context of the story. This whole idea of duality. Toriel wants more of a pacifist thing. Like, she doesn't want the kids to die. She realizes, with the only reason why, the kids keep dying is because of this whole assumption that Asgore had of wanting to kill the humans to break the barriers. So she's like, if another human comes inside, be nice with them. Only kill them if, they're doing something malicious and stuff like that. Toriel represents the pacifist ending, while Undyne represents the genocide ending. So Undyne, her idea is she wants to destroy the barrier and then just rampage across land, killing humans. Like the moment a human comes down to the underground, just kill him immediately. And stuff like that. And so we kind of get this neat dynamic, and I thought it was going to be some sort of political drama, which I thought was a good idea, until like partway through the story where Undyne is like, we're going to attack, and overthrows Toriel, which actually makes sense in canon. I believe you kill Asgore and Papyrus, Toriel does, in fact, take control of the underground, but Undyne overthrows her and then becomes a ruler, and Toriel just kind of goes back to the underground, which is what happens here. So it pretty much follows the canon of that specific neutral ending. Sans kind of falls with her. It's like, hey, I lost my brother. What do you want me to do? And decides to go with her. Alphys kind of has an existential crisis when she finds, with everything that's happening, she kind of unintentionally has to release the Amalgamates, and kind of goes really depressed, and, thinks about killing herself, but one of the Amalgamates, the Spider one, I think he's actually original to the story, kind of gives like a last happy ending, a happy thing to her, like, at least say, I want to stay with you, not go back because you're sad. And she's like, just go home. And then, it kind of gives her the courage to not, which leads her to going to Snowdin and going into try and get into Toriel's home to live with her. And then everything kind of kicks off with there, like, this big funeral for Alphys because Undyne thinks Alphys died. Then later Sans tells her that, she's not alive, but she wants to be hidden, which causes Undyne to kind of become obsessed with kind of trying to see where Alphys is. Sans, trying to forgive Alphys and Toriel, and then we get to like the really, really bad part, the one part that really soured my story. This story is the romance. I did not like the romance. This is one of those stories that really didn't need romance. I said it once before, I'll say it again. Do not force romance. Do not force any type of genre into stories that it does not belong in. Just because it's a drama doesn't mean you should switch gears and just automatically add romance into it, especially in the time frame it is, because there's not really romantic overtures until very late in the story, where I believe it's like like 2 chapters before the X-Men story, like around chapter 35. That's pretty much when the romantic stuff kind of happens, and it's 41 chapter. There's 42 chapters, so it's like it's way too late for the romance to be in. As I mentioned, the story just makes more sense as a whole if they're just friends. It just makes a lot more sense. And so, they're happy, they're trying to be friends, stuff like that. They do like a hilarious penance party. It's like, Sans, please forgive us, and they actually manage to confuse Sans, and you're like, what? And then, he gets pissed, and it's like, you do not understand the gravity of what you've done. And so he sends them out, go into Snowdin, disguise yourselves, and ask the people what Papyrus was like, and tell me when you have returned, tell me what you learned. stuff like that. It's just it comes more of a sort of slice of life, but like a bit of drama into it. It's natural, but I just think maybe keeping the drama up would have made more sense. It does have drama, like all the tension between Alphys and Sans, and Sans and everyone. Yeah, we're saying they're trying to make living together work, which makes sense from a dramatic standpoint. It really does. I just think it could have been done differently. Not like keep the same beats, just told a bit differently. And then we got then Toriel kind of slowly kind of lets go to Asgore, falls in love with Alphys. And then Undyne finds out that Alphys is with Toriel. And then that leads into chapter 41, which I will leave. I'll kind of talk more to that later. You know when. And the plot ends with Toriel kind of becoming queen again. Falling in love with, and then starting her aging process again because she married Alphys, and it's really left open-endedly because there's so many plot points. The author did say if someone wants to write a sequel to the story, be her guest or be his guest. But there's so many open-ended questions, like Flowey. He was mentioned a couple times, but he didn't show up until like the very end, like the very very end. There's the soul. There's like the Terminator. There's like what happened to Undyne. There's possibly Gastor's involvement because a drama story in Undertale can't go one story without having Gastor being behind it all in some way. He always has to be involved. Why? I don't know. He as always does. Then again, he's W.D. Gastor, Wingding Gastor. Sam Friska's role in the whole thing. He's like, I'm gonna walk around the cities, trying to get people who like dying, who can, is willing to sacrifice themselves for get rid of the barrier. There's so many plot points that a sequel needed to be done, but that wasn't, and that's it. So that's it with the plot. Character-wise, the hit and miss is really rough here. First off, Undyne and Sans. I really like what the author did with these two characters. Undyne representing the more genocidal route of her, slowly kind of mentally whittling away at herself because she's so determined to see Alphys alive that, she slowly goes through this really dark psychosis of just becoming obsessed with her. Really nice. Sans is as Judge Sans. Nice. He really kept up the snark with him. He kind of goes through the most development in my eyes. Sans, he's like, okay, I lost a will to live, and he's like, okay, I'm willing to protect you. I'll be your judge. I'll be your bodyguard. Aha. And I like what the what the author kind of does with his powers, like the teleporting. He has he's able to see like 2/3 time frame stuff like that. It's really really, honestly, with that part, I think the author should have went into more description to it because it was kind of sort of vague, not too vague, like vague, but it was just enough vague that a lot of people probably won't get. But overall, I really like what the author did with Sans. He really connected a lot of story elements. If it wasn't for Sans, I probably would have trashed the story apart even worse than I did in my first version. Mainly because a lot of the problems the story has is fixed by Sans being there. If he wasn't there, then this scene here would be worse. This scene right here would be horrible. He's really the glue that holds the entire dynamic and like the second half of the story together. If not for that, the story would have completely fallen apart. Mettaton, he's just a vain guy. He's Mettaton. Nothing. He's barely there enough to really get a beat on him. He's just Mettaton. Muffet. Honestly, my only problem with Muffet is there really should have been more Muffet. I really like Muffet. She's probably my favorite character simply because of her design. I really, I like her design. She's very cute. This one's more favoritism speaking because I just really like Muffet. She's, again, my favorite character. The original character, Susie. Susie's kind of weird because She was mentioned in the game, but she didn't make an appearance. Um, she's okay. Her father and Gaston, fine. Nothing really wrong with that. And then we get to Toriel and Alphys. These two are the problems I have with the story. I kind of tolerate Toriel's character, but I found Toriel was pretty one-dimensional. I mean, she kept talking about how she kind of talks to her, she kind of repeats herself a lot. Um, it's really just there to play off Alphys, but there's not enough going for her to really like her. It's like, yeah, she starts off okay with like being the pacifist. She wants to forgive the humans. She's willing to give the humans another chance if they go down there. Um, and then she has the crisis with Asgore. Like, I want to fall in love with Alphys, but my heart's to Asgore. That's okay and everything. But she's still very bland. She's not one dimensional. It's just there needs to be more done with her. And then we get to Alphys. Oh, where do I start with Alphys? Honestly, where do I start with Alphys? She starts out okay. Like the nerdy weeaboo stuff. Like Alphys. She's acting like Alphys, and everything goes well until she moves in with Toriel. That's when the author completely destroys her character. She becomes completely obsessed. She becomes like someone with Stockholm. Honestly, it's so complete left field. It's so weird. I get what the author was going for, like a really obsessive character to the point where she's obsessing over her superiors and everything. It makes sense from a thematic standpoint, but it really did not need to be there. I think that having her obsessed over romance and finding love with Toriel ruined her character. Because there's a part in the Xmas part, and it's like, okay, the romance starts okay with her talking about like oxygen and carbon monoxide, stuff like that, when they're trying to like make charcoal. And she's being like unintentionally cheeky by referencing her, Asgore, and Toriel. It was actually kind of cute. After that, it completely went to shit. Like, there's a part where they're drawing, and Alphys just randomly draws Toriel naked. Why does that have to be there? I don't know. And, Toriel catches it like, Alphys. And then just cheekily draws a dress on her. Okay. And then immediately after that, Toriel's kind of cleaning, and Alphys enters and looks at her ankles and her thighs. Again, why? All Alphys' character was completely destroyed by the romance stuff. Like Alphys, being friends with Toriel, that should have been it. Being friends with Toriel, being friends with Sand, that should have been it. Nothing more than that. And I have a lot of, but she kind of saves herself in chapter 41. But I just really don't like the direction of her after Undyne overthrows Toriel. Everything before there was like, trying to figure everything out and wanted to be a fair, like, even person, like in the middle, not one side or the other. It makes sense. But she just really, really needed that. Just that after the overthrow, like last 10 or so chapters, that was really, really bad, very cringy, very forced, and it just did not fit in the story at all. Grammar. I do like the fact that the author does in fact incorporate the characters' writing styles from the game into the story. Like, if you actually read the story and if you're any grammar Nazis, you notice why is Sans talking like an all non-caps, like there's no proper nouns in his words. That's because that's how Sans speaks in the game. I like that little tidbit. it doesn't translate that well, especially it really doesn't translate with Papyrus. There's like the part after the penance party where when they're talking to the people of Snowden, they're trying to ask what's Papyrus is like, and then the author kind of goes all caps and it's like he talks like this. It doesn't. That part doesn't really fit. I think maybe adding another sentence, like he talks like this, and then pretend to be Papyrus, and then the all cap stuff. I think that would fit more. Um, I did see one grammar error, but with this writing style of incorporating all these sorts of weird writing styles into the story, it makes it kind of hard to tell if something's grammatically wrong or not. Uh, so take that what you will. Pacing, I had nothing wrong with the pacing. I honestly think, in terms of the pacing, the author wanted to get the romance to become more natural. The author had to make the story longer. The story had to have gone longer and kind of thrown in multiple chapters of them slowly falling in love and everything. The author needed more time to grow the romance to actual realistic standards. Not this very cringy forced stuff that the author already has in the story. Like the pacing itself, it's fine. Nothing extravagant. I think it could have been slower in certain parts, but overall, nothing really bad. It's not too fast. It's not too slow. It's right in the middle. It went. I think maybe the story could have went a little bit slower paced, but that's just me. Because I think with dramas, you need to take your time to tell the story, and so like most of the time, dramas are like the really strong, really drawn out long stories. And so having like a 239,000 word story, telling this type of tale needed to be longer. So, would I recommend the story? I don't know. That's the hard part because when I did the first review, that romance part killed me. It really killed me. I really did not like how bad that romance part was done. It was done really bad. It was really bad. I did not like it. And so when I did that first review, I trashed on that romance so much. Like half of the video was nothing but me trashing on the romance. Hence why I'm redoing this video. But just going through reading the entire story again and getting everything right. I don't know whether or not to recommend the story because despite the fact it's still bad, but there's other flaws with it. It's really the plot is actually really weak. It's okay, but it's weak in areas. Toriel is bland. Alphys is a weak character. There's so many open endings. The story needs to be closed. If the author wasn't planning on doing a sequel to the story, the author should just close as many of these plot points as possible. That's another thing I don't like. When the author purposely leaves plot lines unfinished for other people to continue. I don't like that. I don't like that. If you're not going to continue the story, you shouldn't have made the story open-ended to begin with. Or had unfinished plot lines. And so all those factors kind of weigh and make it very hard to recommend this story. But then on the pros side, you have Sansa's character, Undyne's character. The pacing is actually pretty good. The attention to details with the writing was well done. Chapter 41, I'm about to get. That'll come in a little bit. And some parts of the plotline were actually really good. That makes it very hard to recommend it. It's kind of like when I did Reflections of Madness. When I got to recommending Reflection of Madness, I said it boiled down to whether or not the author will be able to put up with the very weak writing until post Barrel Bottom, where everything just got amazing. And so, so my decision in that one was basically would authors be able to get past Barrel Bottom, because the writing was very weak back then. The author said he's going to fix some stuff, and I really just said in that review, the story, the first part of it just needs some polishing. That's really it. But with this story, there's equal pros and there's equal cons. I'm actually going to leave this one up to the author. I mean, not the author, to readers. If you like it, if you don't like it, both are fair points. So I'm going to leave this right smack dab in the middle, that gray area. But if I had to inject some bias, based on the strength of Chapter 41, I would slightly make it a thumbs up. Which leads into my favorite part of the story, Chapter 41. What a chapter! What a part! If I actually did like a top 10 favorite parts in fan fictions ever, Chapter 41 would be up there. It probably, if I didn't count characters, then it might actually be in the running for like 1 or 2. I know for a fact my favorite part is, like, my favorite single part in any fan fiction was still was from yeah, if I added characters, it'd be Valkyrie from Fusion of Destinies 2. She's still an amazing villain. But if I didn't add her, then it'd probably be number 1 would probably be Kingdom. Yeah, I think Kingdom Beyond Midnight. Yeah, it would be Kingdom. It would be that entire escape sequence from Kingdom Beyond Midnight. Yeah, that entire sequence was very very amazing. But I'm not to say this one isn't bad. This is actually an amazing part of the entire story. So, to put it into context, at the end of the story, Undyne finally found out where Alphys is with Toriel, and she tells Mettaton, said, just get the army ready. If I'm not back within like a couple hours, send the army after him. And he's like, alright. And goes to get Alphys because she's convinced herself that Toriel kind of put a spell on her, and she's kind of brainwashing her and stuff like that. And then Undyne, and then Toriel they all hear pounding, and then Sand goes to get help. And then they get and then Toriel slowly busts down the door to the ruins. Well, constantly telling Alphys, like, come back, come back, and it kind of becomes really false saccharine, with she's still you see what the madness behind her eyes in that sort of sense. If you actually make a scene of it, she's at that moment she's completely lost it. She's so far gone in her ideology of might makes right. And, she's so desperate to try and make a villain out of Toriel for what happened to Asgore, for what happened to Papyrus, that, she doesn't realize what she's doing. And so Alphys, she's telling her, no, I want to stay here. I fell in love with Toriel. I just want to be happy for once in my life. I was tired. I just want a new life. And Undyne, she starts attacking Toriel, but Alphys starts taking all the shots, lowering her HP and stuff like that. And Undyne is just trying to figure out how do I hurt Toriel without potentially killing Alphys. And then she kind of gets so caught in the conundrum, she saves. No, I mean she actually saves. Like the menu when you get those little stars. In the games, you have the star saying, hey. she saved. And I'm like, when I first read that, and I was like, wait, she what? And then Flowey shows up, tells her, hey, you saved. Do you know how it works? It's like, no, I don't know how it works. Well, it's simple. You can just keep trying to kill her until you get away. If you fail, just load. How do I load? Just stop it. Just think back to back then, and you load. And then we get like kind of a montage sort of deal of Undyne constantly trying to kill Toriel, but accidentally killing Alphys. So the first time, she kind of pushes Alphys away from Toriel, finds out she's bluffing, starts punching her and kicking her, and then she accidentally kicks Alphys, which kills Alphys. Undyne reloads, gets her away, manages to kill Toriel, but Alphys dies a heartbreak. So next time, she gets, and it kind of keeps going for a while until finally she manages to, feed Alphys a little bit so that way she's able to heal herself. She kills Toriel, and she kind of gets Alphys back to her castle. But Alphys said, "I will hate you for the rest of your life." And then Flowey shows up and said, "Hey, you save, get everyone." And Undyne's like, "No." And then when she's trying to cheer up Alphys, like she's doing like all these games and toys, just trying to cheer her up somehow. Alphys attacks her, tries to gorge out her eye, and then Undyne realizes what happened. She has like a very harsh realization that Alphys does not love her anymore, that she loves Toriel, and she was completely in the wrong. It was immaculate. It was the entire sequence, the entire chapter was immaculate. Everything from the beginning to the end was done really, really well. It was very heart-wrenching, trying to slowly seeing Undyne come to the realization of Alphys not loving her anymore, and her despair causing, the reset button to show up, and Flowey kind of convincing her to press the reset button because she just couldn't get over the grief anymore. She had lost Asgore, she had lost Papyrus, and now she lost Alphys. Alphys in a way, and she just couldn't take it anymore. It was really, really sad, but it was done amazingly well. This part, it could have worked with them being friends, of Alphys just being a friend trying to protect Toriel from harm's way. And I can't really go into too much detail because there's so much to cover in this entire chapter that it would just feel like it would be cheap to talk about the entire thing. But I just really, really love what the author done with this single chapter. It was amazing. It was heart-wrenching. It was beautiful. I felt really sorry for Undyne at the end. But, and even the end of it, like her choosing to reset, it made sense, but it also didn't make sense because, there's equal opportunity to also have her survive. But, it's one of those cases that either one could have worked, and, she just chose the reset. So, it's well done. Clap to the author. So, that's anything I would change. I would either get rid of the romance, or if you want to add the romance, you gotta make the story longer. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You gotta make the story longer, and also close off as all the plot holes. Just close them off. If you have to get rid of Frisk to do that, fine. Just have Frisk say hi and sorry, stuff like that. With everything going on, it really, the way, I have no problem with the romance being put in the story. It's just the place where it did. The romance should have started at like the middle, not the end. It really killed that part of the story when like at the last couple chapters, they introduced they slowly go headfirst into the romance. It just really makes no sense. I really didn't like that part. But if you're going to keep with the romance, you gotta make you gotta stretch the story out. You have to stretch the story out. Maybe add more Muffet, but then that's more just because I'm a Muffet fan. I just like Muffet. She's adorable. If I had a choice, if I ever play Undertale, I would kill every single person except for Muffet because I really like Muffet. Am I a horrible person? I'd kill Papyrus over Muffet. Yeah, I'm probably a horrible person. I'll leave Papyrus to survive. I'll leave everyone except I'll leave like a lot of the characters. I'll make sure I don't kill Muffet because I like Muffet. So that's my review of Alphys and the Queen, with a lot of mentions of Spider Waifu. So I wasn't expecting me to reference Muffet that much. Oh well. So that's my review. Tell me what you think in the comment section below. This has been Dark Symphony 777, and cut.